Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Tuesday, August 1st. Brand new month, folks. It's 10:05 a.m. It's time to start Good Morning Pop Culture. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Good Morning Pop Culture for August. Now that we're back after our small little hiatus, let me talk about what that hiatus was. I have been working with some people to create new content for the channel, and there's some studio space that we can use. So I was going out there, having meetings, making plans. It was that's very exciting, to be honest with you guys, because we keep on rolling. We just passed 192,000 subscribers, and that's wonderful. Thank you and welcome to everybody. And, 2023 has been a great year for us. And wait till next year. And the year after that, and the year after that. The Bullshitters, well, we're going to Japan. We're going all over the world. Now, folks, today's going to be a fun show. Obviously, we're going to be talking a little more than just Pee Wee Herman, but we'll talk about him in just a moment. So let's start out GMPC by saying good morning and thank you to everyone out here. We have Nicholas Skeels who's telling you to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you listen to Nicholas Skeels because he's a wise man. Caffeinated Wolf says, my favorite morning show. My favorite Tuesday co-host. What is up, man? We have Rod Thunderheart. Hail, Jeff. Hail to you, Rod Thunderheart. Isato Fortune, good morning to you. Hello to Jamie Jackson. Hello to JS. Hello to Fenrir Howells. The Happy Plague Doctor's here. Thank you very much to you, Isato Fortune, and Rod Thunderheart for being members of the WCBS channel. And folks, it keeps getting more exciting. We have a brand new toy video we just dropped the other day. It's doing great like every toy video does. I don't know really what to say about the toy videos. It's like, hey, I go out, I make them, people are excited, tons of people watch them, we make more, rinse, repeat. Everybody's a winner. I do have to say, though, the last two toy videos I've made have been recognized. I did these for years, and people just were wondering what I was doing. Why is this guy holding his phone looking at Star Wars toys or Marvel toys or whatever? And now I've had a couple people come up to me and say, hey, I love your channel, or hey, are you blah, 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 are you filming right now for another one? I'm like, yeah. So if that guy happens to be listening now, I should have gave you a shout out in the video proper, but when I was at Ollie's, this guy comes up to me, he's like, I love your channel, man. I'm like, thanks. In the original audio for the footage, you can hear me having a conversation with the guy, but I never play the audio in the videos because all these stores play music. So it's like the one Ollie's was playing Little Lies by Fleetwood Mac, and I don't really feel like getting a copy strike for Fleetwood Mac ever. It's just not worth it. Stevie Nicks is cool in my book. Lindsey Buckingham's okay in my book too, but yeah, they're not worth a copy strike. Dr. Coffin-Nails says, oh, hi, Jeff. Well, I say, oh, hi, Dr. Coffin-Nails. So anyway, how's your sex life? What a story, Mark. I need to watch that again soon. The guys and I will be together in Indianapolis, Indiana for Horror Hound, August 18th through the 21st, and we're going to be probably watching The Room together. Maybe we'll do a live watch, or at least put it as content for the members and the patrons. Folks, we did record our James Bond commentary. I'm just realizing I forgot to upload said James Bond commentary, but The Living Daylights will be live later today. So if you want to hear that, join the membership program or join the Patreon page. Patreon helps the channel because they don't take as big of a cut as YouTube does. YouTube takes a lot off the top, then off the bottom, and then a little in the middle. So you're left with, it's like having a stuffed crust pizza, and YouTube took all the stuffed crust and most of the pepperoni. I mean, you're still happy that you got cheese pizza, maybe you got bacon or pineapple or something like that as well, but they took the best parts, so we just put that out there like that. Let's see. Good morning to you, Superfan Adam Shawhan. We'll be seeing you in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yes, Paul Rubens did pass away. He looked good for 70, but we'll talk about him in just a minute. All right, the Blues Brothers for the first time. What'd you think? I watched the Blues Brothers about 10 times while I was writing Wokebusters originally. I keep working on those pages. I guess I'll give you guys a new update. I'm deep into the second act. I've been doing some research on a Portland Bridge to make sure I give you guys an accurate piece of art. It keeps looking better. I've grown as an artist working on this book. I feel achieved, accomplished, whatever you want to say. I'm happier with it now than I was when I started it, and when it's done at the end of the year, it's going to look even better. This is the best thing I've worked on so far, and I can't wait to get it to each and every one of you. We're going to be relaunching it and doing stuff to get more awareness for it. Don't worry, you didn't miss it. It's in demand on Indiegogo right now, but if you want to get all kinds of fun and excitement and hype from that book, well, just keep watching the channel. We'll give you many more opportunities to grab it. But I want to thank a lot of people, and this isn't a sales tactic, folks. I put out a few videos this past week with some Stealing Solo information, and we've sold a lot of books. That's why you haven't seen a lot of me from the past week, because I've been fulfilling orders, going to the post office, going to the comic book store to buy supplies. It's been exciting. The guy at the post office is like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he just, asks me what I keep bringing into the place, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's my book." And he's like, "Cool," because this guy's got some comic book tattoos, so he's definitely in the wheelhouse for what we're talking about. But I guess I'm gonna give the guy a copy because he sat and he processed all those books for me, and it took hours. And I'll be right back, folks, because I just realized I forgot to turn off the air. As you can hear, we're reporting from the wind tunnel with severe gusts at over 75 miles an hour. I mean, how often is it that you have an air conditioner that sounds like a 57 Chevy? It just is like going, man. Yeah, gotta love that. I mean, I'd rather be comfortable, but I usually tend to try to turn it off right before we go. I know, Caffeinated Wolf, unprofessional, 0 out of 10. I should just throw this channel off a bridge, the same bridge that the Wokebusters jumped their car in. That's how we're gonna do it. There we go. God, I cannot believe how noisy that is. So let's start off today's show like we always do with my favorite segment, On This Day. Now, let's pull up the image for On This Day. We'll see clearly, and we'll start. Folks, we started this morning at 10:05 because I had a couple of business things to take care of, and that's including indexing more orders to send out later today. Well, by later today, I mean much later today, because I bought shipping supplies for all these books and sold more books than I have shipping supplies for. So that's a good problem to have. And I gotta wait for the mailers to come in. So they'll be here tonight. I ordered them days ago, thinking, oh, I won't move this many. That's why only a few people got their books yesterday. And the rest will go out today. So go to stealingsolo.com right now. Figured a lot of you in the chat already have a copy, but this is the original edition. And I've been having people ask for the Fandom Menace edition as well. So I guess this week I'll go ahead and put all the editions on there so people can check out all the covers. And I'll even throw Tits and Art up there. That way I can have WCBS Comics as a one-stop shop for all of your Jeff Hicks needs. That sounds kind of weird. Anyway, here we are. So on this day in history. Now, we don't really have many notable births. We just have one, and we're going to talk about his birth. And that is Sam Mendes, who is an English director. Now, you may not know his name, but you definitely know his work. He directed films like Jarhead, Road to Perdition. I believe he also did American Beauty. But the film that he really got on my radar for, and I had seen all those movies when they were new, but I think of Skyfall when I think of Sam Mendes. I also think of Spectre, which is a movie that people like to shit on. I don't think it's as bad as everyone says. Spectre is a solid 007 flick, and I like that. So, today's his birthday, and now it's time to move on. If you have any favorite Sam Mendes films, let me know in the chat. Happy to talk about them. So, of the films released on this day in history, we only have a few that are notable. Obviously, everyone's here to talk about American Wedding, released on this day 20 years ago. Man, I feel old. I was going into high school at this point. I know some people are like, 20 years ago, high school, that's nothing, man. I was in high school when Ronald Reagan was state senator. That really makes me feel a lot better. But anyway, all joking aside, that is the third film in the American Pie trilogy. Now there's like 17 movies with all the spin-offs like Naked Mile, and I don't really know the other names, but they have a lot of American Pie films. But the first one is great. The third one is pretty funny, and the American Reunion was pretty good too. So if anyone out there enjoys the American Pie films, hit 1 in the chat. I mean, how do you not love How do you not love the first American Pie movie? It's one of the movies, though, you can't make today. And also, too, like, culturally, are people still, like, horned up weirdos? Or is everyone like, oh, we have the internet, so we have to behave ourselves, and now they're just weirdos in other way? Like, maybe they're weirdos in other ways. Let me know. I'm not that age anymore. I don't plan on being that age ever again. That's not how time works. But also released on this day, 15 years ago, The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. This is the only Mummy film I haven't seen. Yes, I've subjected myself to the Tom Cruise film. Not very good. The first one's great, the second one's pretty good, minus the terrible Scorpion King CGI. And we have Mummy 3. This one replaced Rachel Weisz. We have Jet Li as the bad guy. I think Michelle Yeoh's in this film. And of course, Brendan Fraser comes back. And I'm glad Brendan Fraser has such a return to form in his career. He's an Oscar winner. He is everyone's favorite actor. He's a good dude. All around, I'm happy for him that he won the Oscar. I'm just surprised that Short Round won the Oscar. That blew me away. Good for him as well. Also released on this day in 2014, we have Get On Up, the James Brown story, played by Chadwick Boseman, which, R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. And also to tie it back to our toy video this week, the Black Panther Wakanda Forever toys. Folks, what those toys represent is, you can't sell the brand Black Panther. It is bland, but you can't sell the brand Black Panther without the actor, without the character. Shuri, Namor, M'Baku? No, wait, that's the other guy. Anyway, I don't know the names. I'm not going to try to sit here and butcher some fake African names. I'm sure somebody will get offended on behalf of this fictional African country, but I digress. Point is, you can't take a character out of the franchise and expect it to be successful. Merchandise is always reflective of what's popular. You don't see really popular, like you won't see Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures. You'll see Marvel Legends J. Jonah Jameson, but do you see the advanced suit Marvel Legend? No, you don't. You see the other brand, the other line, the other ones that aren't that popular. But you can always gauge it by that. So you may see, oh, there's Age of Apocalypse X-Men. Yeah, but you'll never see anything based off the classic or the Jim Lee style in the stores. That's why those things go for a lot of money. That Wolverine goes for, I don't know, $60. The Cyclops, well over $100. That's why they keep re-releasing them, because people want them. There's demand. If a company re-releases the same crap over and over again, there's demand for it because they do the market research. They have more data than I do. I'm just dealing with the data on the end of it, and that's how I bring you the information that I do. But if you see, like, for example, you may see Power Rangers figures at Ollie's, but you don't see the 5 or 6 or 7, if you include the White Ranger, Mighty Morphin figures at the store because they sell out. They never get to clearance. So Ollie's, bad stuff cheap. Now, before we close out the other film released on this day in 2017, let's take it back to 1997 to talk about a little film called Air Bud. Yes, Air Bud. I don't know if anyone here has seen the movie Air Bud. I saw it back in 1998 on videotape. I don't really think about it much because I didn't really like it that much. But it was one of the many animal-themed films that were released in the 90s. There was Bingo, there was Benji, there was Air Bud. There was, not Voyage Home, Homeward Bound. There's just a ton of animal-themed movies that were geared towards us 90s kids. And I watched them all, but didn't like any of them. I couldn't really relate. I liked pets, I still do. But Air Bud, a dog playing basketball, I guess it was a cool, catchy gimmick. Then they had Air Bud 2 where he was playing football, and then there's like 6 of those movies. Disney knew how to milk a franchise. They still do today, except the milk's gone bad, Charlie Murphy. I wish I could give them 4 thumbs down. There's also Babe. Thank you, Steven. I think Babe's the only one I didn't dislike. Maybe because it was George Miller, and he was a real filmmaker. Maybe because James Cromwell's a good actor. Maybe because that pig was so darn cute. I don't know the reason why. I just know that I did watch it, and I don't hate it. I think I even owned it on Blu-ray when I was living in California, but I probably left that out there. So, Babe. And Babe Pig in the City. I saw both of those in theaters as a child. Oh, Cosmic Vader, that's a great title for Air Bud 7. Ah, there's MVP. Wasn't there one Milo and Otis? That's sad. Wasn't the rumor that they killed some of those animals though? Like, I ain't into that. That's terrible. Tons and tons and tons of comments on this stuff. Thank you, folks. Donkey from Shrek doesn't count. He's CGI. Now, if they'd used a real donkey and just like dubbed Eddie Murphy's voice over the top, then we'd be talking about the same thing. Avocado Molotov, you're correct. Bacon and ham is always delicious at a later date. So, folks, hit that thumbs up button while we keep rolling through good morning pop culture. And keep telling me your favorite movies featuring animals. I don't know what to say. I've told you mine. I guess my favorite movie featuring an animal would be Jaws. I do like Jaws quite a bit. I used to not like Jaws, but now I do. So, let's see here. We're going to talk about the main topic for this morning. Paul Reubens, a.k.a. Pee Wee Herman, has passed away. Now, I loved Pee Wee Herman as a child. I grew up watching Pee Wee Herman daily. Nah, we don't need the tequila song to play. But, so I was born during the run of Pee Wee's Playhouse. Pee Wee's Big Adventure had been out for a few years, and Pee Wee Herman Mania was still, a thing. Back then, you had really interesting shows for kids with adults as the star. Like, in the 60s, right? That's when Mr. Rogers started. You had Mr. Rogers. He was nice and safe and whatever. But then you had characters like Ernest and Pee Wee Herman. And those are the two that I remember as a kid really liking and gravitating towards, because you got so much weirdness that comes with them, but at the same time, you have decent lessons, decent values, decent entertainment. I don't want to sound like an old man or a church lady talking about this stuff, but let's pull this up so you guys can watch something. Here we go, a tribute to Paul Reubens. Check this out. So there he is, good old Pee Wee Herman. Now, you may know Pee Wee Herman from his show, his live show, his movies, his drug commercial. This is crack cocaine. But this is definitely a kid's show. Pee Wee's Playhouse was a kid's show. Pee Wee's Big Adventure was not a kid's movie. It was kind of a weird thing. I don't know however you want to call it. But Pee Wee's Playhouse was for kids. And I grew up watching that show. It was so weird. It was so bizarre. I don't know how to describe it. If you haven't watched it, you gotta watch it. It's like it was made with everyone on drugs. Then again, it was made in the 1980s, so that makes sense. And so, I used to go to the video store and rent the Pee Wee Herman live show from HBO, and it was way different than Pee Wee's Playhouse. I remember renting that for the first time going, what is this? And it wasn't Pee Wee's Playhouse. But I still liked it because it was Pee Wee Herman. And I have, as a toy guy, I grew up playing with Pee Wee Herman toys all the time. I honestly had about 15 of those Pee Wee Herman figures because they kept breaking. They were crappy quality figures made by Matchbox, but I had them. I had that Pee Wee's Playhouse. I had Pee Wee, Cherry, Miss Yvonne, Magic Screen, Conky 9000. The only figure I didn't have was Ricardo. I had Globey. I had Terry. They never made Dog Chair, so I couldn't have had Dog Chair. By the way, that girl that Pee Wee's talking to was the voice of Tommy from Rugrats, E.G. Daily. So Pee Wee Herman always had a special place in my heart. I've told this story on air before, but I'll tell it again since Pee Wee's just passed away. I used to have the Pee Wee Herman scooter. It's still down in my mom's basement. And I would ride that scooter all over. It was a lot of fun. I remember I was at a store with my mom, and we were on our way to a family party. And I was like, Mom, it's Pee Wee's scooter. It was like up on the top shelf. And she's like, oh my God, we got to get it. So she ended up getting it for me. And my cousin put it together at this family party. And I rode that thing up and down the street like it was going out of style. So, Pee Wee Herman was always special to me. Now, he passed away at 70. He had cancer, which is sad. Fuck cancer, like everyone else says. I agree. But Pee Wee Herman was a bright spot growing up. Yeah, that's why he's putting on underwear as a vest. That's what kind of shit this show was. It was so weird. It's like if you gave a guy a camera and he's just in his room saying shit like, hey, is this kind of funny? Like all that crap. That's what Pee Wee Herman was. The dance. He was so awkward. He was so weird. I never did see the new Pee Wee Herman movie, Pee Wee's Big Holiday, but I should have watched it. And I can see... So folks in the chat right now, tell me some of your favorite Pee Wee moments. My favorite... I just loved this right here when he would fly out, and then the show would end. That was my least favorite part of the show, is when the show ended, because I was always ready for more Pee Wee's Playhouse. Good old Conky. We have a word of the day here on the channel, folks. So maybe this week on the show, when we have a word of the day, everyone can scream real loud. I mean, I know it would get annoying quick, so we actually won't scream on air. Once would just be like, ah, and funny. But my God. I guess that's where the word of the day actually comes from. So, a lot of people wanted to talk about his passing and stuff like that. I'll talk about the fun, the happy, the positive stuff of Pee Wee Herman, so everybody can remember the good stuff. Nobody wants to think about Pee Wee being, ill or sick. We want to remember Pee Wee doing the dance, the tequila dance. I can't hear the song Tequila without thinking of Pee Wee Herman. Honestly, if I ever hear the tequila song, I do the stupid dance. Like, even mentally, I'm just kind of like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And Pee Wee Herman was one of those characters that really, even though he dealt with the controversy in the early 90s, he still had a big comeback. Realistically, he never really went away. He just did other work. Pee Wee's Playhouse may have gone away. But Paul Reubens acted in tons of stuff. And then, years later, he comes back as Pee Wee Herman. That's the same Pee Wee doll I had, the one that's in his pocket right here. I had so many of those damn dolls. Oh, little figures, I should call them. They had a real cloth jacket. I also had the pull-string Pee Wee Herman. I had the giant cherry that you could sit in. It was like a hand puppet. And I'm pretty sure the doll just said, I know you are, but what am I? And I couldn't imagine being him, because he always, he had to have the haircut and look a certain way for the show, and going out looking like Pee Wee Herman, that'd be crazy. Now that's Lawrence Fishburne in his I think it's his first role as Cowboy Curtis. I have the Cowboy Curtis action figure. I also have the King of Cartoons action figure, which means I have a Blackula action figure. Same actor played Blackula, played the King of Cartoons. Now, Francis, talk about a dick character. Anytime I see this actor, I think his name's like Mark Buxton. Every time I see him, either in Teen Wolf or any of those other 80s comedies that he was in, he is always Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Anytime I see an actor from this movie, including Jason Hervey, the kid from the Wonder Years, Kevin Rooney or something was his name in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Loved it. I think my favorite part of the damn movie, though, and please let me know in the chat what your favorite part is. Oh, hold on. We got a super chat from Rod Thunderheart. Rod Thunderheart says, Hail! Money to promote See-Through Love, Friesen Press. A Spanish teacher who can become invisible when angry, but being aroused, it happens anyway, is shocked to find a new gym teacher is blind, but can see her by feeling energy fields. Now, Rod Thunderheart, I bought a copy of your book. Hold on a second. Oh, it was behind me the whole time. I went into the other room to grab it. But no, I got a copy of your book right here. I haven't even opened it yet because I've been inundated with my own mail. But I have it right here. I bought the hardback edition of See-Through Love. It's a really nice cover too, man. But I'm not going to go on camera, but folks, that's me hitting the book. Check out Rod Thunderheart's work. I thought to myself, if this man is so passionate about his story, I need to check it out. That's what you really buy when you buy an author's work, is their passion. And Rod Thunderheart, I appreciate your work. It says Rod Thunderheart is a man of many trades: actor, trucker, and even pro wrestler. Let's hear more about that. In his spare time, Rod also practices Oigong meditation. His varied background has inspired the creation of his stories. Rod currently resides in Alberta, Canada, and that comes from the back of the book. So that's not me doxing anybody, including Rod Thunderheart. But yes, Carolina Dominguez has a unique ability to turn invisible. Rod, I'm excited to read See-Through Love. I think it's a fun title. And folks, check it out. You go to Friesen Press to get yourselves a copy. I got a copy. Michael Scambati, I believe I remember this name. Hi, Jeff. Are Carnage and Shriek like Mickey and Mallory in Natural Born Killers? Since Woody Harrelson played both and Juliette Lewis should have been Shriek. That's an excellent question to ask. I mean, I just read through the early issues of Amazing Spider-Man. Well, not early, excuse me. Issues 360 whatever, and I'm in the 370s now. of Amazing Spider-Man. That's what I do every night before bed. I read Spider-Man comics. To be honest, they help with the with Wokebusters and everything else. But long story short, I do think that would be a good comparison. Carnage is definitely. I think he may have been too late to play Carnage. Also, too, Woody Harrelson's not pathetic enough. Woody Harrelson's a great actor, and so I'm sure he would take that as a compliment, being called not pathetic. But I've always looked at Cletus Cassidy as a very pathetic, weak man who used his little bit of strength over those who were even weaker than him, and then as he got older, he took advantage of old people and women and stuff like that. Now, Woody Harrelson does play a convincing, creepy bad guy, and I think he was well cast, but he's just, I don't know, I think he's too intimidating. I can't believe I'm saying about Woody Harrelson, but he's too intimidating. But in theory, Mickey and Mallory would be a good comparison of those, or good, not comparison, counterparts. There we go. But yeah, I think that would be, those are excellent. If they made these movies back in the day, Juliette Lewis would have been a good choice. I don't think anybody wants to see modern day Juliette Lewis as Shriek. I think I think a lot of the Spider-Man characters should be portrayed by younger actors. I don't mean like Tom Holland young or Zendaya young, because they still look like they're in high school. Zendaya looks like a child. But, somebody that looks kind of like mid-20s to be Shriek, something like that. I've been seeing a lot of Shriek action figures at Ollie's, folks. So, maybe I'll buy one, and actually I won't buy one. I never buy anything at Ollie's. That's the sad part. I just go in and make the videos. Now, Matthew McConaughey would have been a good choice back in the day. He's got that, stringiness. It's not that he looks pathetic, but he's, thinner and looks a little more... I guess he's ganglier at times, especially, in Dallas Buyers Club when he was really thin from the AIDS. But you could have a thinner guy like that play him. I think Matthew McConaughey has the chin for it, too. That might have been my choice for Carnage, honestly. Woody Harrelson's performance is good, but Matthew McConaughey looks like I would imagine Carnage. But back to our main topic. By the way, thank you, folks, for everybody who sends in Super Chats. We appreciate that. But Pee-wee's Big Adventure, as we see on here on screen, and Paul Reubens was also the Penguin's father in Batman Returns. Now, this happened, I believe, right after his whole controversy. So, Tim Burton put him in a film right away, and Paul Reubens continued to work. He never really had a big dry spell in his career. I've never seen... Wait, I have seen Blow one time back in the day. I watched it when I was younger just because Pee Wee Herman was in it. And I know he was more than just Pee Wee Herman, but every time I saw him, it's like, oh, it's Pee Wee Herman. And I would watch it. I went and saw Mystery Men as a kid because he was Pee Wee Herman. I loved The Spleen. I loved the movie The Mystery Men. But Paul Reubens will always be Pee Wee Herman. And I think my favorite moment is when Pee Wee Herman, in character, appeared at WrestleMania. It was Pee Wee Herman and The Rock, which blew my mind as a child because I don't want to show his arrest. We don't need to talk about that shit. But it blew my mind because, young child me and adult, older child me was like, oh man, The Rock and Pee Wee Herman are inhabiting the same space. And it blew my mind to see The Rock and Pee Wee Herman interact with each other and cut promos and shit. Ah, that guy just got a divorce from Sofia Vergara. I wonder if he's going to do better. I doubt it. But I wish him the best of luck. So, luckily, in the case of Paul Reubens, his career came full circle. Because a lot of times people get canceled and never come back. Or they come back and they have more issues. Look at Britney Spears. She comes back, people think, oh, she's back for good. No, she's got more issues. And hers are mental health and something that's a lot more serious and severe. But it was nice that Paul Reubens, even though he had to deal with all that crap, did have a big comeback. And Pee Wee Herman had a return to form as well. It was very nice and, I guess, comforting to see that Red Door, or to see Pee Wee Herman stuff back in store shelves, or see Pee Wee Herman on Netflix, or have a live show. It was cool. I'm glad. It's kind of like the perfect trajectory for entertainment. If you have to go out at one point in time, everybody loves a good comeback story, and everybody seemed to love the Paul Reubens comeback story. Pee-wee's Big Adventure there, Nicholas. That's a great line. The one line I quote from that movie regularly is the scene where he talks about it's a cable knit sweater and it keeps on knitting and knitting and knitting. If I can ever find a proper context for that when I'm talking to somebody, I'll say knitting for 10 seconds straight, and they'll just look at me like I'm crazy. And then I go, well, if you haven't seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure, you're just not going to get it. And if you haven't seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure, we're not going to be friendly. Like, if I ever see somebody get arrested, I'm going to say to the guy or the officer, officer, is he being arrested for removing the tag off of a mattress? And see if I can get a fucking laugh out of somebody. That's like the most ridiculous part of that movie. I know people love to say Large Marge or, you know, the dream with the clowns or the bike chase through the Godzilla set. I think the most insane part of that is when when Pee-wee's hitchhiking across the country, the guy is in jail for that, and then Pee-wee plays his wife. That's such a weird story. Now, the Robert Downey Jr. comeback is way bigger. That's like next level, and I mean, Pee Wee Herman was also never as, well, I guess he was as big of a name at one time, bigger than Robert Downey Jr., you know, when they were contemporaries. But Robert Downey Jr.'s comeback story is the greatest in Hollywood. Come on. Like we always say on the show, he was a punchline in the 90s, and now he's the most respected actor on the planet. He stole Oppenheimer. That movie was great. Cillian Murphy did a great job. Everybody did a great job in that film. But Robert Downey Jr., man, he stole the show. I gotta say, though, he has this one acting expression he makes. And it's a good expression. It's not a dig, believe me. Who am I to criticize this guy? But I watched it and I went, oh, that's the Robert Downey Jr. face. He makes like a certain expression where he turns his head and it's like he makes his mouth take a certain shape. I'm just like, he's being serious and intense right now. He does it as Tony Stark. He does it as the guy in Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was a 10 out of 10. God damn. Folks, if you haven't seen Oppenheimer, check it out. And what did Pee Wee Herman do? He got caught jacking it in a porn theater in the 90s. And he got arrested. They canceled his show. When I was a kid, I was like, Mom, what happened to Pee Wee Herman? The story they told, what was like 3 years old or 4? Yeah, it was 3, I think. They're like, he got in trouble for showing Miss Yvonne his underwear. And I believed that. Because I would see Pee Wee Herman on the cover of all these magazines, and I'm like, what's up with Pee Wee? And the show was off, and I didn't care. I had it on tape, so I'd still watch the show and play with the toys. The trajectory of childhood went, I'm pretty sure it was like Thomas the Tank Engine and Pee Wee Herman were things I liked as a child. Then I got into Batman and X-Men and Spider-Man and Power Rangers, and then that was it. And then after Power Rangers came Toy Story, and then Star Wars. And I never left Star Wars, even though Star Wars left us a long time ago. Michael Scambati, thank you very much. He says, Jeff, who's a bigger threat for Spidey? Carnage and Shriek and Green Goblin, if both broke out and did separate things. B-Man's top priority is Joker. Well, the Green Goblin's top priority is messing with Spider-Man emotionally on another level that other villains can't do. So if the Green Goblin were to return, as well as Carnage and Shriek, Spider-Man would go after Carnage first because Carnage just goes and kills without any kind of thought. He just goes to wipe people out left and right. So he would go after those two. Kind of like how he did in Maximum Carnage. But after that, he would go for the Green Goblin. Because the Green Goblin would do stuff to punish Peter Parker. So he would be like, let's say all three of those things happened. He would be concerned with, you know, the Green Goblin might go after Aunt May or Mary Jane. Or, depending on which goblin it is, he might even go after Harry's kids. And so Spider-Man would be focused on would go to do that after he would take care of Carnage and Shriek, because he would have to take care of the most pressing matter at of the time. But I'm loving your Spider-Man questions, man. I love to talk Spidey. I love to talk comics. I'll be talking more stuff later on. As you guys know, I'm a writer and an artist, and I want to thank everybody. I know I thank everybody a lot for buying all these books, but hey, I'm lucky. I get to live my dream. It's not very often that you get to wake up and go, cool, more orders. Go fill those orders and send off your book and get good reviews. I mean, that makes me happy. So thank you to everybody. There's been a lot of you lately. Superfan Adam Shahan knows what's up. Oh, White Knight, don't worry. I'm working on longer form videos to talk about the lunacy of Secret Invasion, because I want to give you guys the longer form videos. They just work better. I like to make them, talking about topical things are great. We'll turn those into more live stream events. So you guys know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button and keep sending in your messages and stuff. It helps support the channel. But on our note of Pee Wee Herman, if there's anything else people would like to talk about, let me know. I feel like we covered a decent amount of stuff. He's great in the Cheech and Chong movies. He's great in the Blues Brothers as the waiter. He's great. I love this scene in Pee-wee's Big Adventure when he gets to play himself in the Pee Wee Herman movie as the bellhop, paging Mr. Herman, and it's James Brolin and who is else in the movie? It's James Brolin and somebody else, and he plays Pee-wee. He's like a secret agent, like James Bond. That is an awesome part. Shrubbles08, thank you very much for your super sticker. We greatly appreciate you for your words of the day and everything each and every week. I gotta see the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. I haven't seen it yet. So, folks, speaking of seeing, shoot us emails to worldclassbs@mail.com, thebestmail.com, and let us know what you want to see more of here on this channel. Also, to the patrons who sent in the messages about what we want, we're going to get together at Horror Hound and we're going to produce some of that content because it'll be the first time that the guys have been together in 3 years. And so now I feel like we're finally able to ramp things up. We had a WCBS meeting last night. We had all sorts of good ideas, new plans coming to the channel. And, well, I'll make you wait. That's all I'll say. But I will go give Buffy the Vampire Slayer a watch. I like Christy Swanson. Isn't it Luke Perry that's in that movie? Anyone ever seen the episode of Family Guy where Peter says Luke Perry's gay and Luke Perry gets upset and comes to his house and is like, I'm not gay? Such a weird episode, but, you know. It is what it is. Federer House, nothing is as good as Spaceballs. That's why I always promote Stealing Solo as the best Star Wars parody since Spaceballs. Come on. I'm not going to say that about Mel Brooks. The guy was awesome. Still is awesome. Does he still make films? I think he did History of the World Part 1? Was that what it was? I don't remember. I didn't watch it, but I have seen the other one. So it was sad, but Paul Rubens passed away at the age of 70 from cancer, and may he rest in peace. Hopefully, it wasn't incredibly painful. I don't know what to say about that part. It's always sad when you hear about anybody passing away, but especially somebody you grew up watching on TV. You're like, oh man, Pee-wee. I remember texting my cousin, because my cousin's older than me. We used to laugh about Pee Wee Herman all the time. Because they would laugh at that I liked the show. They thought it was lame. But I laugh at it now as an adult going, like, man, this is some weird shit. How did I laugh at this as a kid? But I do. I did. It was great. Don't forget that Luke Perry is Krusty the Clown's half-brother. I did forget about that. I love The Simpsons. It's weird. It's like all of my Simpsons knowledge was just compartmentalized, and I forgot a lot of it. Angela, I'm glad you used to watch Pee-wee all the time as well. One of my favorite takeaway moments from it was the ice cream and cake pudding episode, because Pee-wee would cook. Like one time he would teach the kids how to make juice pops, or he would teach the kids how to make other random shit. And ice cream and cake pudding was, I still actually eat it. All it is where they take ice cream and cake and just mix it together and eat it. So if I ever go to a birthday party and there's ice cream and cake, I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to mix it together and eat it. It's a weird texture thing, but it's tasty. And it's my takeaway from Pee Wee Herman. Thanks, Pee Wee. We salute you. So Michael Scambati, thank you very much again. Is Maximum Carnage good for someone who's only seen the first two Sam Raimi films? I've seen bits of the others, but the first two are the ones worth it. Yeah, Michael, Maximum Carnage is definitely worth it. Go get yourself the trade paperback of it. Because Maximum Carnage was a series over, what was it, 12 or 14 separate Spider-Man books, but they're not all Amazing Spider-Man. It starts out in, I believe, Spider-Man Unlimited, and it rolls through Amazing and Web of... No, wait, was Web of around back then? Yeah, maybe Web of and Spectacular. Yeah, because Web of was... Yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking all the artists and names. It's all kind of blending together right now. But yeah, Maximum Carnage is a good storyline. I recommend you read the book and then play the video game for Super Nintendo. Not the Sega Genesis version, because the Super Nintendo version had better music. And there's no blood in either version. But it's one of the I won't call it a great Spider-Man story, but it's a very good Spider-Man story. And arguably it's the best Spider-Man story of the 90s. Because while people love to talk about 90s comic books and how great they were, I think they sucked. I thought 90s comic books back then were difficult to get into, and going back and reading a lot of those, there are gems like your X-Men stuff before Claremont leaves. I do enjoy the David Michelini Spider-Man run. I enjoy a lot of that stuff. But overall, the 90s is kind of a dry spot in comic book quality. It picks up in the late 90s and early 2000s and then does peter out around 2014. We're in the modern age now. It all kind of sucks from Marvel and DC. With that being said, I highly recommend the book. You'll like it. It's got a good story. It's got a lot of crossover characters. Captain America appears. Cloak and Dagger appear. I mean, it looks good. Mark Bagley does a great job. Sal Buscema does a good job. Who else was on the book? Was Alex Saviuk back on it still? I don't know. But I can't recommend it enough, honestly. If I'm going to do a top 20 Spider-Man stories, like big crossover events, I'd put it up there just because of what it is. It's just one big fight. It's just a lot of like characters put on screen. If you like a movie like Avengers Endgame, where it's just a bunch of characters come together to fight at the end, that's kind of how this one is. It's just a big crossover. It's as deep as Carnage, as deep as a character. So you're not going to really be, you're not going to get, like, Kraven's Last Hunt is the best Spider-Man story ever made. That is number one. I mean, I love the symbiote stuff with Carnage, or Venom. Those are really good stories, but nothing beats Kraven's Last Hunt. That really checks off every box of quality. So, yeah, check it out. You're going to know all the hallmarks. You don't need to know everything about Spider-Man to appreciate it, and you'll have a good time. Ron Lim, thank you very much. Rod Thunderheart. Thank you, Rod. Yeah, Ron Lim was the artist. He was fine. The older I get, the more I do my own art stuff, I think to myself, man, this 90s style is very cool, but I would never want to draw like it. I never look at it and go, wow, that's the stuff that I want to replicate. I don't. Wolfbusters looks like a comic or a cartoon. So once I get past that, my own style is more of an Alex Toth, David Mazzucchelli, realistic proportion with simplified faces and heavy brush lines. That's my style. Rod Thunderheart said Maximum Carnage killed my interest in comics. Well, it's an interesting take. There you go, Michael. You get both sides of the coin. Somebody who, I liked it. I got it for Christmas in high school, like in 2007 or 6. That's what I got for Christmas, was a bunch of graphic novels. I got The Death of the Stacys. I got Kraven's Last Hunt, and I got that book. And I got the Symbiote Saga, all Spider-Man. My mom was one of those parents. If it's a book, she'll pay for it. She doesn't care what the price is. And so I like to read. I read all those books, and I had a good time. Max, the reason we haven't seen image-based characters in films, probably because those guys, like a guy like Jim Lee, I'm pretty sure he sold Wildstorm to DC. So all those characters are DC now, I think. And then, do you really, is there a place for them anymore? I would go see some of them, but I think the people on the internet, and I don't mean to generalize in a dickish way, but I think the people that were nostalgic for the 90s books, or are nostalgic for the 90s books, don't really take a look at the lay of the land and realize just how basic or how dumb or how whatever. Some of them are good. The stuff Mark Silvestri did was cool, and I like Jim Lee, but would you want to see the shit that Rob Liefeld made into a film? Because it's just paramilitary, and the stuff that makes those books unique is the over-the-top art. People don't look like that. They can't move like that. So I don't really know how much of a demand there would be, to be honest. I would want to support it because I like to support all comic book movies, but I think there's such a kitschy niche thing that it might not really resonate with a lot of people. But let me look up the Image books later, and I'll tell you what I think would make a decent film. Avocado, I just read those 2 books. That was a good story. Anything that Eric Larson drew tends to be some of my favorite Spider-Man work. I like the story. I like the atmosphere that he creates with the artwork. It feels I don't know. It feels like its own little world. The McFarlane stuff is very disparate in terms of like Spider-Man looks great. The people don't look that great. The city looks fine. Like you can tell what he's good at drawing and what he's not. Eric Larson blended it all well together, and like I've said before, Mark Bagley added a sheen to it and perfected Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. I know people say, "Oh, how can you perfect it if it was already perfect?" It's a little lumpy. It's a little weird. I know I sound like an art critic here, and this is stuff I always thought as a kid too. I'm just like, these people look different. The Mark Bagley stuff just adds a nice sheen and makes it much more clear. And that's what I'm talking about, clarity. Let's see. Yep, Wildstorm is owned by DC. He came along with the deal. Okay, thank you, White Knight. I thought it was something along those lines. Jim Lee is the ultimate businessman in comics. I'm a big Jim Lee fan. I'm going to go meet him because, folks, I keep forgetting to promote this. I'll be at the Cincinnati Comic Expo this year as well. I'm going to start putting those out in the videos so people can come meet us and hang out. If you want to get a commission or a sketch, that's a place to get it. I get a lot of messages about that. I should put that on the website as well because I can make time for that. And I'll make sure they're... Believe me, if I'm going to do one, I'm going to do it up. I've had a lot of fun doing those. I used to sell convention sketches of Daryl from The Walking Dead. Those were like pencil sketches I'd spend a lot of time on. But yeah, folks, you hate Rob Liefeld's artwork. I don't disagree. Here's the weird part about Rob Liefeld's artwork. You know how they say about separating the artist from the art? I actually enjoy Rob Liefeld talking a lot. Like, some people think he's whatever. I actually enjoy listening to him talk because he clearly knows his comic book history. And so he's been inside of these rooms where he's part of that history. Now, my favorite guy to listen to talk is Todd McFarlane because he gives good business advice. If you ever want to learn what it's like to do this stuff or how to do it yourself, listen to him. He gives you like really good business tactics too on how he negotiated deals and how he got all of this stuff. So I respect what he does. But Rob Liefeld, while I don't enjoy his art, I never did. I don't think I've ever bought a single Rob Liefeld comic book. Maybe characters he's worked or created like Deadpool. I own Deadpool stuff. But there's just something, the way he talks about himself and pitches it, it makes me want to like it. So I'll go like study the art. I'll go look at the art. But I won't buy the books it's based on. Bottom text, you are correct about woke as an overused and misused word. That's why we use it ironically in Wokebusters. Make sure you guys check that one out, wokebusterscomic.com. Max, you're right. Rob Liefeld couldn't draw feet properly, but like they teach you in comics, if you can't draw it, hide it. That's fun. That's a fun thing to... you can basically look at people's artwork and say, what can't they draw? How are they hiding it? And if you know what to look for that, you might actually have a little fun with it. So who else we got? Just love reading about Rob Liefeld stuff with the chat. That's always fun. I should do a stream. I got to stream with Vinny and all those guys. I've just been so busy taking care of business. It's funny, I moved home months ago, but I'm just finally getting stuff here unboxed because it's like, oh, I got my printer, I got my Xbox, I got these things, but still haven't fully moved out. Folks, let me know some of your favorite artists. They don't have to be comic artists. They can be. Do you like Michelangelo? Do you like what was his face? Roy Lichtenstein. So this is a weird meta thing I did with my book Tits and Art. Roy Lichtenstein would steal other people's art and then like turn it into pop art and make money off of it. So I copied his style to do the same thing to him. It's kind of like the circle is now complete. If you know what I'm talking about, then you'll appreciate why I did it. Thank you, Superfan Adam Shahan. Thank you. Now, folks, also, too, we're always talking about our change. Getting ready to go on camera. This month, by the end of the month, WCBS will be a camera-based show for the most part, and that includes the podcast. Last night, the guys and I sat down. I'm going to be sending them out some equipment, and everyone's going to be up in their equipment across the board. And we're talking to our good pal Caffeinated Wolf. He's going to teach me how to use a couple of these new screen software programs so we can be more than just a voice with a pulsating circle around us because people want to watch people. And you know what? There's nothing to hide here. Sure, I got bedhead some mornings, and sometimes I'm drinking a cup of tea as I roll out of bed before a show, but hey, it's all about the energy I bring. And you guys definitely like that. Now, one thing I want to ask you guys is, did anyone expect the Barbie movie to make nearly $1 billion? I didn't. I didn't like that movie. I had a discussion with our friend Script Doctor last night. It was a good time, but I did not expect that movie to make $1 billion. It's getting close to it, folks. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Now, it's funny how I ask a question, I go on a tangent, and then I answer the question. I need to call this show ADD in the morning. Maybe more people would understand it. No, I'm always reading the chat, talking to you guys. It's like I'm trying to have a conversation with each and every one of you out there in Radio Land. Because it's a good time for me and a good time for you guys. Keep hitting that thumbs up button. Okay, so our friend Robot Shlomo, folks, if you're not watching Robot Shlomo's work, what are you doing? The dude's funny as hell. He's a talented musician. He's great at comedy, great at voices. Check him out. You can find him all over the internet. He gets a thumbs up from WCBS. But you like Arthur Adams. I like Arthur Adams' artwork a lot. He's somebody I like to study his ink style because it's great. Brian Bolin says Overkill 161. That's another great one. Alphonse Mucha says Avocado Molotov. You know what's funny is I actually did something in his style. That's what the cover of Tits and Art is based on, is Alphonse Mucha. I'll show it real quick. Because when I was doing the book, I was making it artsy, but also the joke is it's tits and art, meaning like everybody loves boobs. Let's add a little art to it as well and see how people feel about the artistic flair. And so here I'll show you my take on a piece of his work. I was very happy with how this one turned out. And you guys can tell me what you think. But yeah, here we go. Window, tits and art, boom. That was my take on an Alphonse Mucha work. That's the cover to Tits and Art Volume 1, Seductive Fantasy. See, I know my artists. I went to a Matisse exhibit at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. I actually am a member there. I went during Thanksgiving, and they're like, hey, you can come into the art museum. It was like X amount of dollars. But if you're an artist, you can get a year's membership for like $12 less than the price of a ticket. And I thought, I like to support the arts. I'm an artist. I want to go in for less money, but I also, at the end of the day, like to support the arts because I'm a part of it. You can't promote this and sell your own stuff if you're not going to help other people as well. I'm a firm believer in that. Like, I'm happy for guys like Young Ripa to make the money doing comics and stuff. Believe me, we're working on a product that'll be at that level too. I already produced some stuff like that. But my point is, you got to be out there to help other people and support it. So check it out. Let's see. We got Christopher Moeller, Ian Miller, Roger Dean, Jim Burns are some of my favorite artists as Max. I'll have to look up those names. I may not know all those off the top of my head.
You may get a camera for Buffalo Jeff, but you'll never be seen again.
Thank you, Enrique. Let's see. My favorite is Fred Perry. My art style is heavily influenced by his. I'll have to check out Fred Perry as well. Let's see. Looking for more names on the artists. We got Ralph Malph. What about him from Happy Days, right? Now I should draw Wokebusters in Alphonse Mucha style, Art Nouveau style. Do it. I would love to see some fan art. Believe me. That would be a lot of fun for me. I'm the one that sits and draws all this stuff all the time. It'd be nice to see somebody else's take. So let's see. What up, J.D. Maldonado? Good morning to you. Good morning to everybody out there. So, folks, this is the Pee Wee Herman memorial stream. It was about Pee Wee Herman in the beginning. Clone Geek, I'd love to see that Star Wars style crawl. Now, folks, today's Good Morning Pop Culture is only going to go about an hour because I have some business to take care of beyond just getting stuff shipped out for Stealing Solo. I can't believe that book is doing so well, but thank you to everybody. And it's not going to be around for long. That's the cool part. It's like, hey, I'm doing this. People like it. I'm going to go make some more content and get stuff out there for a lot of people. Yes, Andrew, I was sad about Pee-wee's passing as well. Make sure you guys go back and check out the replay of this morning's stream to hear more of my Pee-wee Herman thoughts. I had a lot of fun as a child enjoying Pee-wee Herman. I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the movie. I didn't like Big Top Pee-wee that much. We didn't even talk about Big Top Pee-wee at all. Yeah, that's the one where I'm just kind of like, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, thumbs up, love it. I have a lot of fun. I can still watch it as an adult. Big Top Pee-wee, I can live without it. But, it is what it is. Not everything's perfect. But it's always going to be fun to hear what everyone thinks about what their favorite Pee-wee stuff is. Did I miss my member chat? Oh, shit. Where is that? I gotta pull up the window. Rod, if you tell me what it just basically said, I will reread it for you. Because I need to get a second person on here with me to let me know when that goes live. Or when that window pops up. So. Yeah, Rod, if you wouldn't mind resending that. You don't have to resend it as a super message. Just send it anything and I'll put it up on screen and take care of you. Man, I appreciate that. I wish StreamYards had a way to see it. Because I can see when the super chats pop up like this all the time. But I can't see when the other stuff pops up. Oh, you sent the crawl to the email. Let's see. Mail.com. And let's log in. We used mail.com because it was free. But I do have worldclassbullshitters.com. The guys and I will all have our own email addresses a little later on this month. And you guys can email everyone. Here we go. Oh, cool. I got a different email. Let me make sure. Sorry, I got an email from the Corel Painting Corporation. They liked the channel. They want to work with us. Cool. That's awesome. Here we go. We got a Star Wars style crawl. Gonna download that and check it out. Thank you to, hold on, I want to make sure I got your screen name here and not your real name, because that's the last thing I want to do is be like, thank you, blah, blah, and give your real information out. So let's just save that and check it out. Okay, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Oh, wait, we mute this. I'll play this on air. Hold on, let's watch this together. This is cool. This is very cool. I love stuff like this, guys. Community stuff is the best. You guys are the best community. All right, so share that. Let's full screen it up. All right, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. WCBS. Nice. You guys will just have to imagine the Star Wars music yourself. Burp, burp. The search for Dion. Here we go. Oh my god, yes. Dion has been kidnapped. After meeting for an in-person drunk watch party of Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, Dion was taken by the sinister forces of the Brony branch of the KKK. Oh my god! Oh. Poor Dion. Now Jeff, Nick, Kendo, along with Kendo's infant son, are on the quest to save their friend. Because they don't want Hillary pissed at them. This is incredible. This is fucking incredible. Oh my god. That is awesome. Thank you for sending that in. Oh man. We need to we're going to play that on the show. Maybe I'll put some fake music over the top of it so we don't get a copy strike. And we'll play that more often. That is awesome. If you ever want to send us more. Oh, there's more. That was awesome. Thank you. If you ever want to send us more stuff, let me know, man. I'd be happy to play that. I appreciate you guys doing stuff like that for us. Rod Thunderheart, did you resend in your message before we put this baby to bed? Thank you, Clone Geek. That was awesome. So, let's see. Rod Thunderheart, where you at? I decided I'm going viral. I'm going to debut the Thunderbomb Powerbomb with splits. They can't even do that in the WWE. I'm going to use media attention to promote see-through love. You got to do that, man. You got to do it to promote everything. Promotion's the key to all of it. That's how you make the big bucks. Bad recorder Star Wars music people want for that. We'll try we'll try that White Knight. We'll try that. Folks, thank you for joining us today. It was I know it's an abridged show, but like I said, I got a lot to take care of here around the WCBS headquarters, and so I want to make sure I get everything prepared so we can have a nice, productive week. The weekend is a good time for video, so make sure you guys check us out on the weekends. We're going to be having a lot more stuff coming to you then, but we'll have stuff all throughout the week. Join us later for our next streams, and if you guys have any recommendations, let us know. But in the meantime, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other. And now, folks, let's say goodbye from one of our favorite 1980s films.
You think it's getting